Welcome back to Mighty Habits, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always.
Today we're tackling something that might make some of you a little, nervous.
Oh, what's that?
Negotiation.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
see.
But stick with us. By the end of this, you'll be feeling empowered, not intimidated.
Yeah.
We're going to explore You Can Negotiate Anything by Herb Cohen.
Great book. We're going to uncover the secrets to becoming a master negotiator no matter what you're facing.
Okay, so what was the first thing that really grabs you about this book?
Well, one of the most interesting things is that it flips the script, like it challenges that idea of negotiation being a battle.
Yeah.
Cohen, he wants us to see it more as a dance, a collaboration.
Yeah, where both sides, they walk away feeling like they got something good.
Okay, I like that. That sounds way more fun than a battle.
Right.
But let's be real, sometimes it feels like a wrestling match, especially when the stakes are high.
For sure.
So how does this a collaborative dance thing, how does that work in real life? Well, it starts with a mindset shift.
Right.
The key is you got to understand the other person, their needs, what motivates them, all of that.
Right.
And it's not about, being a pushover or giving in all the time.
No.
It's more about getting creative, finding solutions that actually work for both sides.
Okay, so you're not saying just cave every time.
Absolutely not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So can you give us a specific example of how this would play out? Say you're negotiating a salary with a new job.
Perfect example. So let's say you want, a higher salary than what they're offering, instead of just digging in your heels and demanding that number.
Yeah.
Cohen, he says, explore other things that might be important to you.
Uh-huh.
Like maybe more vacation time.
Okay.
Or a flexible schedule, or maybe even professional development, courses or something. Think outside the box.
I see. So it's about broadening the whole scope of the negotiation, looking beyond just that one thing.
Exactly.
And finding those creative solutions that help everyone. That makes a lot of sense. And this applies not just to work stuff, but personal life too,
And
right?
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about deciding on vacation plans with your family.
Oh, yeah.
Or even what's for dinner.
Absolutely. The principles, they work everywhere. Anytime you're trying to reach some kind of agreement.
Okay, so this is starting to feel less intimidating and more like, I don't know, like a strategy game or something.
A little bit, yeah.
But okay, even with this more collaborative approach, walking into a negotiation, it can still be nerve-wracking,
Totally.
Any advice for calming those pre-negotiation jitters?
Well, that's where preparation comes in.
Oh, right.
Cohen, he really emphasizes doing your research. Know your leverage. What are you willing to give up? What are your absolute deal breakers?
Okay.
Have a plan. Know what you want to achieve. The more prepared you are, the more confident you'll feel going in.
That makes sense. Speaking of preparation, it's November 10th today, so let's say tomorrow's the big day. You've been prepping for this negotiation. Any last-minute tips from the book?
Absolutely. Cohen talks about this tactic. It's really simple, but powerful. The power of silence. Might sound counterintuitive, but after you make an offer or a counteroffer,
Yeah.
don't jump in to fill the silence, just wait.
Oh, interesting. So it's like silence is golden, kind of?
Kind of, yeah. That silence, it creates a sense of anticipation, and it can often lead the other person to, concede something or reveal more information. It's subtle, but it can be really effective.
Like a little nudge to get them to reconsider.
Exactly. And it's amazing how often it works.
Okay, I'm definitely adding that to my cool kit, the power of silence. So we've talked about the mindset, understanding the other person, and being prepared, especially using that silence strategically. What else did you find in the book?
Well, one thing that really resonated with me was how much it focuses on the psychology of negotiation.
Oh.
It's not just about logic and reason,
Yeah.
It's about understanding the emotions, the feelings that are driving everything.
Right. Because often we focus so much on the strategy, the tactics, and forget about that whole mind game that's happening underneath.
Totally.
So tell me more about this psychological angle.
Well, Cohen, he goes deep into the psychology of persuasion, influence, building rapport, building trust, understanding what's really driving the other person's decisions.
Okay.
It's about connecting with them as a person, not just a transaction.
So emotional intelligence is a big part of this.
Huge. Being able to read people, understand their motivations, respond to them in the right way, that's crucial for good negotiation. And the good news is, it's a skill you can learn, you can practice.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I think a lot of people think, well, I'm just not good at reading people.
Yeah.
But you're saying Cohen's approach is all about helping people get better at this no matter where they're starting.
Exactly. He gives you tools and techniques that anyone can use. For example, active listening,
Right.
paying attention to what they're saying, but also their body language, their tone of voice, and asking good questions,
Uh-huh.
to really figure out what they need and what they want.
So it's almost like turning this whole intense negotiation into a detective game.
I like that.
Like you're gathering clues, you're piecing together the puzzle, and then you find that solution that works for everyone.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. It's about being curious, being observant, and being adaptable. And sometimes it's about, challenging your own assumptions.
That's a good one. Because I think going into a negotiation, we all have these preconceived ideas.
Oh, totally.
Like this person's out to get me, or it's a zero-sum game where only one person can win.
Exactly. And Cohen wants us to question those assumptions.
Okay.
Like, what if we see the other person as a potential partner, not an enemy?
Right.
What if we go in wanting to find a solution that actually benefits both of us?
Wow. That's a completely different way of looking at it. And I bet it takes a lot of the pressure off, right?
It does.
If you're not always on the defensive.
Exactly.
Then you can be more open to exploring different possibilities.
Absolutely. It completely changes the whole thing. It's not a tug of war anymore. It's a problem-solving session together.
This is making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We've talked about the mindset, understanding the other person, preparation, emotional intelligence. Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, any common pitfalls people should watch out for?
Oh, there are a few traps people fall into. Cohen talks about them directly. One of the big ones is getting so focused on your own position that you forget about what the other person wants.
Yeah.
It's like trying to sell a product without, knowing what the customer actually needs.
Right. You're so focused on getting your own way that you completely miss the signals from the other person.
Yeah.
And then it all goes wrong.
Exactly.
Huh.
Another one is being afraid to ask for what you want. People often underestimate their leverage, or they worry about being seen as too pushy.
I think that's especially true for women when you say, there's that societal pressure to be agreeable.
Oh, absolutely. Cohen, he wants us to overcome those limiting beliefs. Approach negotiation with confidence. Be assertive. It's okay to ask for what you want, to negotiate for your own best interests.
This has been really eye-opening. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this book.
It's packed with good stuff.
But before we move on to our final thoughts, let's recap what we've learned. We talked about the collaborative mindset, understanding the other person, being prepared, the importance of emotional intelligence.
And don't forget about challenging those assumptions and understanding the psychology of it all. Those are all super important.
Absolutely. And of course, who could forget that power of silence technique? That's a game changer for sure.
It really is. And what's so cool about this book, it gives you this framework for approaching negotiation in any area of life.
Right. It's not just for CEOs and lawyers doing these big contracts.
Exactly. It works just as well when you're trying to decide on a movie with your partner or splitting chores with your roommates.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's about navigating all those everyday interactions, but with more confidence, more skill. And one thing Cohen really stresses, negotiation, it's not about manipulation or tricking people.
Right.
It's about communicating, understanding, finding solutions that work for everybody.
I like that. That's a refreshing way to look at it. I think a lot of people avoid negotiating because they think it means being pushy or aggressive.
Yeah.
But what you're describing, it sounds more, collaborative, even, dare I say, enjoyable.
It can be, absolutely. And the more you practice these skills, the more you realize negotiation, it's just part of life.
Yeah.
It's how we manage relationships, our work, how we interact with the world around us.
So for those of us who are ready to level up our negotiation game, what would you say is the most important takeaway from the book?
I think the biggest thing, the most transformative idea, is that anyone can become a good negotiator with the right mindset, the right tools,
Okay.
It's not about some innate talent or having a certain personality.
Right.
It's about learning a set of skills and then practicing them.
So it's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
Or a musical instrument. With practice, anyone can get good at it.
Exactly. And what's cool is the more you use these skills, the more confident you get. You start to see opportunities for negotiation everywhere.
Yeah.
And you start to approach them with excitement, not dread.
This has been such an interesting look into negotiation. We've talked about the mindset, preparing, emotional intelligence, so much.
We've covered a lot.
Is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind as they start to, use these ideas in their own lives?
One thing Cohen reminds us, negotiation, it's a continuous learning process.
Right.
There's always room to get better.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to experiment. Try different things. See what works for you. Adjust your approach as you go. And remember, it's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about making progress, becoming more confident, a better negotiator over time.
That's a good point. It's about the journey. So before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay, shoot.
What's one small change you can make in how you approach negotiation based on what you've learned today? Could it be shifting your mindset, doing more research before a big conversation, maybe even just trying that power of silence thing?
Those are all great places to start.
Yeah.
Remember, even small changes over time can make a big difference.
Through this whole discussion about you can negotiate anything,
Yeah.
I keep thinking about all the different places these ideas could apply.
Oh, totally.
It's not just about, fancy boardrooms and big contracts.
Right.
It's about those everyday interactions, building better relationships, feeling more confident about sticking up for yourself.
That's exactly what makes Cohen's approach so great.
Yeah.
It's so versatile. Yeah.
Tricky situation at work,
Uh-huh.
disagreement with someone you love,
Yeah.
even just getting your kids to eat their veggies.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
These principles can help you handle all of that with more skill, more, grace.
It's like unlocking this secret code to better communication. I love how it takes something like negotiation, which can be so scary,
Definitely.
and makes it approachable, something anyone can use.
And it all boils down to, empowering yourself,
Yeah.
realizing that you have the power to change things, to
Yeah.
shape your own experiences, to get what you want,
Right.
but in a way that respects other people, their needs, their point of view.
It's like finding your voice and learning how to use it.
Exactly.
This has been so inspiring. I bet our listeners are feeling energized, ready to try some of this out.
I hope so. And remember, becoming a good negotiator, it's a journey.
Yeah.
There'll be bumps in the road, challenges, times you need to adjust your approach.
Of course. Yeah. But the important thing is to keep practicing, keep learning, keep trying to get better.
That's a great reminder. So this wraps up our deep dive into you can negotiate anything. Big thanks to our expert for all the insights. You really brought this book to life.
Happy to do it. Really enjoyed exploring these ideas with you and with everyone listening.
And to our amazing listeners, we hope this episode was helpful, empowering. If you're ready to change how you approach negotiation, unlock your full potential, we highly recommend checking out You Can Negotiate Anything by Herb Cohen. It's a book that can seriously change your life.
It's a must-read for sure.
And don't forget, subscribe to Mighty Habits for more deep dives into all sorts of fascinating topics that will help you level up your life. We'll be back soon with another episode packed with insights. Until then, happy negotiating, everyone.